The General Assembly of the Tennessee YMCA Youth in Government will come to order for the purpose of attending a joint session. Will the schools present sound off so that your attendance may be noted?
Hendersonville High of Hendersonville, Tennessee is present for the 68th Annual Youth in Government Conference.
Hume Fogg Academic Magnet High School of Nashville, Tennessee is present for the 68th Annual Youth in Government Conference. Hello.
John Overton High School
of Nashville, Tennessee
is present for the 68th Annual Youth in Government Conference.
Merrillheim Magnet School of Hendersonville, Tennessee is present for the 68th Annual Youth in Government Conference.
Memphis University School is present for the 68th Annual Youth in Government Conference.
Nolensville High School of Nolensville, Tennessee is present at the 68th Youth in Government Conference.
Go!
Pope John Paul II High School in Hendersonville, Tennessee is present for the 68th Annual Youth in Government Conference.
68.
Springfield High School in Springfield, Tennessee is present for the 68th Annual Youth in Government Conference.
Thank you for having us. We'll see you there.
I'm Nancy Skipper of the 68th Youth Governor of Tennessee, and my delegation, St. Mary's Episcopal School from Memphis, Tennessee, is present for the 68th Annual Youth in Government Conference.
Go Turkeys!
Egyptian Christian Academy of Covington, Tennessee is present for the 68th Annual Youth in Government Conference.
University School of Nashville is present for YIG 2021. You know what we're talking about.
West School of Knoxville, Tennessee, home of the Spartan Bistro, is present for the 68th Annual Youth in Government Conference. Go Spartans!
The joint session attendees have been noted. I hereby declare the joint session of the 68th Annual Tennessee YMCA Youth in Government Conference now in session. We will now pause for a reading of the Star-Spangled Banner by this year's unopposed candidates.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light
what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming,
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
over the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming,
and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Our flag was still there.
That our flag was still there.
Oh, say, does the Star-Spangled Banner yet wave?
Over the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And home of the brave.
And the home of the brave.
Before we begin, I'd like to introduce Tennessee's Governor Bill Lee for a brief welcome message.
Hey everybody, Governor Bill Lee here. Welcome to the 2021 YMCA Youth in Government Conference. Thank you for your dedication to civic engagement. It's incredible to see your passion for learning about and participating in government. As you gather together virtually, I hope that you find inspiration. As you listen to your peers, participate in debates, and interact with others who care about making Tennessee the best state it can be. I trust you'll use this experience to become responsible and engaged citizens in your communities, and I know that you will make our state proud.
At this point, it is my pleasure to introduce this year's Youth Governor, Ansley Skipper, to give her State of the State address.
Hood, Rasul, and Al Ali, Speaker Pro Tem Sital Kumar, members of the 68th Youth General Assembly, justices, constitutional officers, and my fellow Tennesseans. I would first like to express my utmost appreciation and gratitude for a vigorous and substantive start to this conference weekend. By now, it's become a cliche that the past year has been an especially trying one, not just for Tennessee, but for the whole world. In fact, the world as we knew it seemed closer to an end than we'd ever experienced. Thousands of people a day dying at the hands of a silent killer, a virus lurking around every corner, every unmasked smile, every grasp of hands a threat. Thousands of lost jobs as the economy responded to lockdowns that were vital for public health, but often devastating to families and small businesses. Our nation's youth were sent home from school with varying degrees of access to education, with virtual and hybrid learning exacerbating inequities that already worked to make learning a struggle for various communities of students. All the while, June saw more tragedy. it seemed as though the deaths of unarmed Black men and women were accelerating, each week bringing a new reason for grief and outrage. The nation responded to demand justice for Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and other victims, bringing awareness that the systemic racism that existed before these tragic deaths be confronted. January saw a moment of crisis in our democracy, an attack on our seat of government by citizens who, misled by their leaders, lost faith in and rejected the legitimacy of democratic elections. This crisis revealed the cracks in our democratic foundation that existed long before the pandemic year. And it also unleashed an equally undemocratic torrent of efforts to limit access to the ballot box. Now, with the hope of vaccination on the horizon, we're beginning to envision a post-pandemic world. But even after the masks and social distancing disappear, the inequities and weaknesses exposed by the past year will not go away without conscious action. In our efforts to recover from the pandemic, we must strive to not merely return to the status quo, but to a Tennessee with more opportunity for all Tennesseans. I'm confident that that goal is an achievable one, which is why, my fellow Tennesseans, I can report to you that the state of the state is hopeful. Of course, the first step to recovery is vaccination. Without these effective life-saving shots actually reaching the arms of Tennesseans, economic, social, and educational recovery will be a much longer, tougher road. That's why the Department of Health is focusing its efforts on making vaccines more widely available for all Tennesseans ages 16 and up through more mass vaccination events and a vaccination public awareness campaign. These mass vaccination events will be located in all communities throughout the state, particularly the low-income communities and minority communities that have been disadvantaged by inequitable distribution. I know I'm feeling grateful, hopeful, and so much safer now that I know I've been able to protect my family by being vaccinated. And I encourage all of you who are 16 and older to seek and take opportunities to receive a vaccine. You can find vaccination sites across the state at covid19.tn.gov. Through the vaccination of all Tennesseans, we can build our way to a safer and more prosperous state. The coronavirus pandemic has exacerbated the mental health pandemic our society has faced in recent years. Our main focuses in the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services are to provide resources in every area needed in Tennessee in response to the drastic effects of the pandemic on individuals' mental health, while working to accommodate the needs of the uninsured by working to expand the eligibility requirements of TennCare. This year has also forced us to confront shortcomings concerning mental health in the criminal justice system. 64% of jail inmates, 54% of state prisoners, and 45% of federal prisoners report concerning mental health issues that are only exacerbated by the confines of a prison. Therefore, under my administration, the Department of Corrections proposes for the creation of a sub-department of mental health corrections, serving the mental illness needs of those in prison. As we've begun to reconstruct the economy from the devastation of this past year, it is increasingly apparent that the key to the growth we project will be a public transit-focused infrastructure plan, as building the public transportation system will allow Tennesseans the ability to travel more easily and affordably, which will also support Tennesseans' transit as they seek employment or commute to work. In addition, the presence of accessible public transit will make Tennessee a more attractive place to live and work, and a more attractive location for businesses to locate their employees, further expanding opportunities for job growth beyond the jobs that will be created by the construction and operation demands of these systems. But public transit is not only an economic necessity. It is imperative as we face the challenging realities of pollution and climate change. According to a study by Vanderbilt, major cities in Tennessee, Knoxville, Nashville, Memphis, and Chattanooga were among the top 25 most ozone polluted cities in America. This statistic only highlights one aspect of how our negligence is damaging our environment. That's why I'm endorsing Red Senate Bill 21-4-4, establishing a rail system between Nashville and Memphis that will become self-funding and aim to lower carbon emissions by offering an alternative to car travel. In addition, my administration will be introducing legislation that focuses on public transit at the local level. We propose investing in and expanding bus routes in Memphis, Nashville, Chattanooga, and Knoxville, as well as support for localities that pursue light rail initiatives in their cities, making construction more efficient and affordable. Instead of focusing on expanding and building roads, we will focus on maintaining existing roads as we aim to prioritize public transit and cut down the number of cars on the roads. The cost of these programs will be offset by raising the state gas tax by just 9 cents a gallon. The focus of the Skipper administration's Department of Children's Services will be to eliminate the root causes of issues that the department is tasked with addressing. Our hope is to, by addressing these foundational crises, lessen the burden on and need for the department services themselves. Currently, the department and its billion-dollar budget serve many functions, of which the primary four are child safety, adoption, juvenile justice, and health care for those DCS oversees. But all of the injustices that DCS remedies are department-recognized symptoms of larger issues that this administration plans to attack. Economic instability, which leads to unsafe housing, neighborhood violence, and a lack of stable child care and social support. Tackling economic instability begins with education. Investment in education is an investment in our state's economic future, the quality of life of our citizens, and equality of opportunity for all Tennesseans. We will be pursuing increased funding for public school and charter school education to support students and teachers, hoping to raise teachers' salaries and provide them with the tools they need to teach and students with the resources they need to learn. We also aim to provide schools with the aid they need to open and remain open safely by mitigating the spread of COVID-19. Schools need additional support and funding now more than ever because of the pandemic, but we also must strive to better our education system beyond the underperforming pre-COVID status quo. We also know that education is about more than testing, classes, and homework. Education must support and foster growth in students in all areas of their lives. Education is about preparing young people for the real world. That is why we'll be supporting the inclusion of vocational skills training in public schools. This will prepare students for life beyond the classroom and provide career opportunities for those who cannot or choose not to attend colleges and universities. I'll also be endorsing Red House Bill 21-2-6, offering a comprehensive sex education course in every public school across the state of Tennessee. As a woman who identifies as a member of the LGBTQ+ community, inclusivity and representation are issues that are close to my heart. As I see more and more women and members of the LGBTQ+ community leading our nation, I'm inspired and proud. I've chosen to reflect these values in my administration as well, opening up opportunities for those who've been marginalized in the past. Among this group are veterans, particularly homeless veterans. An alarmingly large portion of our veteran community does not receive the benefits made available to them. This is made even worse by the COVID-19 pandemic, making it harder for these individuals to receive help and be educated of their rights. The Department of Veterans Affairs has proposed to create an office within our department with the purpose of finding these individuals who have served our nation so honorably and educate them on their benefits and provide every packet that they receive when they retire or discharge with the information that they would otherwise lack. Beyond veterans issues, my administration will be proposing a bill on adoption through the Department of Children's Services that addresses the harmful legislation passed by the state that entitles private adoption agencies to discriminate against interracial, interreligious, unmarried, and LGBTQ+ couples, as well as single parents who seek to adopt children. The state will not fund agencies that seek to deny Tennesseans the opportunity to build families and provide stable, loving homes to children. Furthermore, I hope to advance inclusivity in schools as well. That is why my administration will be sponsoring Red House Bill 21-5-2, an act to allow students enrolled in kindergarten through 12th grade and public institutions to play sports based on their gender identity. It is vital that we begin to demonstrate the importance of equality of opportunity and of inclusion early on in education. Now more than ever, it is vital that all Tennesseans participate in the democratic process, exercising their voices to shape our state's future. The right to vote is sacred, and the will of the people is sacrosanct. We must make it as easy as possible for all eligible Tennesseans to vote. That's why my administration endorses Red House Bill 21-3-4, which provides for restoration of voting rights to nonviolent felons who have completed their sentences. Those who have been the most impacted by our state's laws and justice system deserve to have a voice in the governing of the state. In addition, we endorse Blue Senate Bill 21-3-5, a sweeping and vitally important proposal to expand no excuse absentee voting and early voting and institute automatic voter registration. As I look around at all the work we have already accomplished, I am further assured that the state of our state is hopeful. I encourage you all to continue the lively debate and discussions, amending bills and creating new dynamic legislation. As always, please do not hesitate to contact me or my cabinet if you have questions, concerns, or ideas for my administration. I have faith in you all, faith in our officers, and faith in the democratic values of this conference. Again, I am hopeful, and I am sure that because it is in your hands, the state of the state is hopeful. God bless you all, and may God bless the great state of Tennessee. Thank you.
Seeing that the business of this joint session has been concluded, it is in order that we adjourn.
The joint session will stand in adjournment, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.